this is Jamie from Creations Misfit, and today I'm going to show you how to make these quick and pretty easy fingerless gloves. So I would say this is probably an advanced beginner project. We are going to start down here at the cuff, and we're going to work the cuff, and then we'll work up this way. So what you will need is some size 4 yarn, a 5mm hook, a pair of scissors, and a yarn needle to sew in your ends. Also, when you start, I like to do the cuff in a 4.5mm size hook just because I like it to come in a little bit and be a little bit tighter than the rest of the glove, and that's up to you. You don't have to do that. You could do, I've actually, with these white ones, I made the whole thing with a size 5. But for these, I'm going to start with a 4.5 for the cuff, and then I'll do a 5 for the rest of the glove. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We are going to start with a slip knot and chain. Okay, so go ahead and do your slip knot, however you like to do it. And then we are going to chain 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Sorry about my voice. I have sinus issues. I know a lot of people have made comments on some of my videos about they hope my cold gets better, but it's just sinus stuff, so I apologize. Okay, so we are going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So not this first one right there, but the second. Just go ahead and put 1 single crochet in there. And then we're going to single crochet across the whole chain. So you should have a total of 10 single crochets at the end of your chain. 3, 4, 5. Oh, you know what? I grabbed the 5 anyways. So I guess we're doing 5mm hook. They're both green, so I didn't decipher between the two. No big deal. Okay. 9 and 10. Alright, so you have 10 single crochets across, and then you're going to chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to do single crochets across again, and it will be 10, but we're going to do back loop only single crochets. If you're familiar with back loop only, every stitch has 2 loops. Normally we go through both, but here's the front loop, the one closest to you, and then here's the back. We're just going to pick up the back loop. But for the first stitch and the last stitch of every single row, we're going to go through both loops. I know that's a little bit confusing, but once you get going, it will just be second nature. So go through the very first one like a regular single crochet, and then the next 8 will be back loop only single crochets. Sorry, I know this is kind of dark yarn to use, but just pick up the back one, the back loop only, and single crochet. So those middle 8, it's kind of hard for me to see too. Oh, here we are. Whoops, I think I picked up. Well, let me start again. Sorry, I have my camera sitting in front of me, so I'm kind of looking through the camera. All right, here we are. Here's the back loop. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the middle ones, and then this very last one we're going to go through both loops and just do a regular single crochet again. It just tidies up the ends a little bit to do the regular on both ends, so that's why we do that. Okay, so that was row 2. Okay, so chain 1 and turn, And we're going to do that all the way through for our entire cuff. We're going to do 1 single crochet, a regular one, and then 8 back loop only single crochets, and then a regular single crochet at the end. So here's where you can change this up if you need a bigger cuff around the wrist or a smaller one, if you're doing this for a child or something like that. I should have mentioned in the beginning too, if you want to make these smaller for a child, you don't have to do 10. You could do like a smaller cuff, if you only wanted to do 6 or 8, that would be fine too. And here I do 26 rows. So this one here has 26 rows. I have, I would say, an average to smaller size wrist, but there's room for, stretch, of course. So this is 26 rows, and you can do as many as you want. Just do them in multiples of 2. So if you feel like you have a bigger wrist, maybe do 28 rows. If you feel like you have a really tiny wrist, maybe do 24 rows. Okay, so we're going to do all of our rows, and then we'll meet back up. So once again, you do a single crochet in the first, and then 8 back loop only single crochets, and then a single crochet in the last, chain 1, turn, and do it again. So we've done 2 rows so far. So go ahead and do your 26 total, or however many you'd like, and then we will come back together. All right, I've just finished my 26 rows, and now we are going to put this together so that it makes the cuff. So you can do this however you want. Some people like to use the sewing needle and go back and forth here. I just kind of turn my project, put my hook through this side, and pull this loop through. And then I slip stitch across. So I go through every stitch on both sides, and I go back through that same one to make sure it's really tight there. And I just slip stitch across. So you make sure you're going through both sides. This side had the chains, so it's kind of hard to see a full stitch. There's not a full stitch there, but you can see where the chains are. So you go through one side and the other, and then just pull around for your slip stitch. But if you'd rather use a needle, that's fine too. Whatever way works best for you. But make sure you go through all 10 to close up this cuff. All right, and then I turn mine inside out so that this part is on the inside. It doesn't really matter. It kind of joins nicely there, but I think it looks a little bit better on the inside, so I just turn it like that. And then chain 2. Okay, so this is where we're at. That's our cuff. Now for this part, we are going to double crochet around. However many rows you did is however many double crochets you'll have. So I had 26 rows. I will have 26 double crochets. And the way that I do it is you just go, it's not really a stitch yet up here because this is the side where we did our regular single crochets. So if you look, you can see like there's a ribbed row that stands out, and then it kind of goes back, and then one that stands out and kind of goes back. So I just go into the tops of each of those. I go into the top of the rib and then the one that's back. That's how I find my way around, because I know when I first started doing hats and stuff like this, I was like, where in the heck am I gonna put my stitch? So for the first one, I go right into this the top here where we did our chain 2, and I do double crochet right in there. And then I go into the next one that's kind of back. See how that one's not standing out? And just go into that hole right there and do a double crochet. And then the next one will go into the top of this ribbed part. That's 3. and then the hole for the back part. 4, and then I just go around like that. 5, 6. So hopefully that will show you where to go. So go ahead and do yours, and I will meet you back when we're finished. All right, when you get around to, if you find that you're off a stitch or something like that, it's no big deal. It's not going to make or break your project. Just make sure you have the full 26 or however many rows you did. So if you have to, you know, if you get to the end and there's no stitch or there's no space left and you've only done 25, just do 2 in the same stitch at the end. Or if you have to decrease 1, it's no big deal. Okay, so then we're going to slip stitch, but don't slip stitch to the top of the chain 3. Slip stitch to the actual top of, or the chain 2, I'm sorry. Slip stitch to the top of the first stitch because it just brings it over for a cleaner look. So slip stitch into the top of that first double crochet, and we have that row done. So for row 2, we're going to chain 2, and we're going to double crochet in that same space right there, and then double crochet in the next space or next stitch. And then for the next 2, we're going to do front post double crochets. If you're unfamiliar with front post, it's just a regular double crochet, but instead of going through the stitch here, you're going to go around the post. And that's what makes this ribbing stand out like that. So we just went through the first 2. Now make sure that you don't go around this post here. It's kind of funny when you first get started because it looks like maybe you want to go around this one like that's next, but we actually went into that stitch. You can see there. So you're going to go over to this next post and just yarn over like a regular double crochet, go around like underneath the post here, yarn over and pull up a loop like normal. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. All right, and then we're going to do that for the next one too. Front post double crochet. Just go underneath and then do your regular double crochet. Okay, and then for the next 2, we're going to do regular double crochets into the stitches again. Now, here it kind of gets hidden behind this post, but you want to make sure that you go into that very first one right there, that very first stitch, because this is the post for that one. So go into this stitch and do 1, and then do 1 in the next, a regular double crochet. And then for the next 2, we're going to do front post again. So you just went through this one, so make sure that you go over here to go through or go around this post. And we'll do 2, and that's going to be our repeat pattern around. So we'll do 2 double crochets, and then 2 front post double crochets all the way around. And it doesn't matter how many rows you did or how many rounds you have, you know, you're just going to do the same no matter what. So if you did 28 or 24, that's fine. That's why we did multiples of 2. So just keep going around and do yours. I'll just stay with you on this round here. And now I'm going to end with 2 double crochets. You might end with something different if you did 28 or 24. So no big deal, but you should be able to do 2 of everything. So you'll either end with 2 double crochets or 2 front post double crochets. Okay, and then we're going to, when you get around, you're going to slip stitch into the top of the first stitch again, not the chain. Slip stitch the first double crochet, and that's that round. Okay, so for the next, let's see, let me look at my, Sorry, I'm trying to look at my pattern here. Oh, okay, so that was round, or that was, yeah, round 2 for this part. For 3, 4, and 5, we're going to repeat the same thing. We're going to chain up 2, and then we're going to do 2 regular double crochets, one in that very first stitch there where our chain is, because the chain doesn't count as a stitch, and then one in the next, and then we're going to go around the posts again. Now you can kind of see that they're sticking out, and as you do more rows, you'll see them even more, but this first row, you know, it might not look like it's sticking out that much, but you're going to go around these posts again. Make sure you go around the 2 that you just did up here, not these 2 bottom ones. Okay, so just go around the post again. And it gets easier because you can just see exactly where you need to go with the posts. All right, and then 2 regulars. Again, make sure you get that one right below the last post that you did. 2 double crochets. And then here's the posts. 2 front posts again. And just repeat around. So this is round 3. We're going to do this for 3, 4, and 5. And then we will come back together. Oh, before we go, I wanted to say, if you're making these for a child, you're not going to want to do as many rows. So maybe you'll only do 3 rows, you know, this row as your third, or maybe only do 4 rows. We're going to, you want to measure it up to the thumb part. So here, let me show you. If you can measure it your child or whoever you're making it for. Right now we're doing this part. This is 5, 4, and 3. So measure up to your child about where their thumb would start, and that's how, you know, how thick you want this part here. So if you're making it a little bit smaller, or if you're making it for like a larger hand, maybe you'll need to do a 6th row. So just kind of measure up until the thumb part. Okay, so then we will meet back. All right, you should have finished up your rows 3, 4, and 5. And here's where we're at. So now we're going to do the row with a thumb hole. So just chain up 2, and we're going to start with 2 double crochets again, just regular double crochets, go into that very first stitch, and go into the next stitch. And then you're going to chain 4. This is the thumb hole. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to skip the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to front post double crochet into the 5th one. So when you skip those 4, you should be skipping 2 front post, 2 regulars, and then the next 2 are going to be front post. So go ahead and just go right back into the post there. Do 2 front post. And then just keep going with the same pattern. 2 regulars, 2 front post, all the way around. Okay, and you should have a little hole there for the thumb. So finish up this round, and I'll see you in a minute. Just finishing up round 6 here. Just slip stitch into the top of the first double crochet. And starting round 7, we're going to chain 2. Double crochet in those very first 2 again. And we're going to double crochet 4 across the where the thumb hole is. So you don't have to go right into those chains. You can just go underneath and do 4 regular double crochets. And it's okay if there's like a piece left over, this will slide over. So from there, we're going to go right into the front post double crochets for the next 2. If this is going too quickly, just pause the video, you know, and go at your own pace, no problem. And then if you need to, you can kind of slide these over. It kind of just does it on its own though. And then just go around for the rest of round 7 with the same pattern that we've been following. 2 regulars, 2 front posts, 2 regulars, 2 front posts. I'll see you at the end of this round. All right, coming up around the end of round 7, slip stitch to the top of the first double crochet. Here's where we're at. If you want to try yours on at this point and see how the fit is, this is what we should have at this point. Not too much left to go. All right, so for round 8, we are going to chain up 2, double crochet in the very first 2 again. And now here's where we did our 4 for the thumb hole, like just regular double crochets. So now we have to start with the front post again there. You know, make 2 front posts so that it lines up with these on the bottom. So go into the next and do your front post and another front post, and then grab the next 2 regular double crochets, and then you'll be back to the next 2 front posts. So this is round 8. So go ahead and finish up round 8 with the same thing that we've been doing each round. End of round 8 here, slip stitch to the first. And that's where we're at. So from here we're going to do rounds 9, 10, and 11 the exact same. 2 front post, or I'm sorry, 2 regular double crochets, and then 2 front posts. These first 2 might be hard to see because we just started again after the thumb hole. So make sure that you get around the ones that you used for the post. So this is round 9. We're going to do rounds 9, 10, and 11 the exact same. If you're making a larger one, maybe you'll need an extra row, or if you're making a kid's, just measure until it's about, you know, up to here, and maybe you won't need as many rows. But for an average hand, I think you'll want to do rows 9 or rounds 9, 10, and 11, and then we just have 1 round after that to finish off. So go ahead and do yours, and I'll see you back. Okay, end of round 11, we are just going to slip stitch like normal, and then our last round is really simple. We're just going to chain 1 and then place 1 single crochet in every stitch around. So if you've been following me, you'll have 26 single crochets, or if you have less or more, that's fine. Just make sure that it's the same amount that you've been doing all the way around. This just kind of finishes the top of it off. So if this has been helpful, I would love if you could like the video, and if you're not subscribed, if you'd like to subscribe, I have tons of video tutorials up already, and I'm making a lot more. I have everything that, you know, not everything, I guess, but I have something for everyone, I guess is what I was trying to say. Lots of scarves and hats, and just all kinds of projects, short projects, ear warmers, all different kinds of stitch videos. So take a look, and if you'd like to comment below, let me know who you made this for, what color yarn, or what kind of yarn, how it turned out. I'd love to hear it. I'm also on Instagram at Creations Misfit. If you'd like to share your project with me, I'd love to see it. And if you want to follow me over there, I always post everything that I've been doing. So, okay, from here, we're going to I just chain 1 and then leave a tail to sew in my end. Pull this through, and we are done with this glove. So you can try it on, see how it fits. These have a nice stretch to them, so it can fit a bunch of different size hands. So that's where we're at. Now you're going to make another one, obviously, unless you just want one, but you can make it exactly like this and it will turn out just fine. Like you can see here, there's ribbing like this. I'll show you what it looks like on my right hand as well. It's just a little bit different because we have like here we had like 4 rows of regular double crochet, but you can't even tell. You still see all the ribbing here. So if you want to make it exactly the same as the last glove, you can go ahead and do that. I think that would be just fine. Now for the white ones, I just changed it a little bit. This is for my right one, or my left hand, sorry. And you can see the 4 rows go right here, which is the same as the one that we just made. And then I just changed it a little bit for my left hand to make it so that the 4 rows, the 4 flat rows are there on the palm again. And all I did to change that was the thumb hole round. Let me see where we did the thumb hole. Round 6. So if you want to change it for round 6, instead of doing 2 double crochets and then chain 4, you're going to do all of the double crochets first, the 2 double crochet, regular front post, go around for the first 20 stitches. Then you'll chain 4 and skip 4, and then your last 2 you'll just do whatever you end up with, the 2 double crochets or the 2 front posts. I think it's 2 regular double crochets. So it's, sorry if that's confusing, but for round 6, if you want to do an opposite hand, just do your regular pattern for the first 20 stitches, then chain 4, and then go back to the regular pattern, or skip 4, and then go back to the regular pattern. But really, I mean, this is what they look like when I did 2 different ones, and it's not that different. You know, here's the white one. If I just did the same, the 4 just ends up there, but you really can't tell. It looks pretty much the same. So up to you. Just wanted to give you that option if you'd like to be more particular about it. But thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I hope that you stick around for a lot more tutorials and check out the ones that I have on my channel already. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.